Hey there, everybody. James here, and we're back with another watch review. And this one, kind of a special one, out of left field. Something that I did not necessarily anticipate showing up in this form in my collection. So today we're talking about the Credor SIGNO. Reference is GCAR971. And this piece, unlike a lot of the Grand Seiko models out there, there's not really a nickname for a lot of these pieces. And there's a lot of variety within the Credor umbrella. So, the conversation a lot recently has been around some of the micro artist studio Credor pieces in Shiojiri. So it's in northern Japan. And that's kind of where Credor brings together the pinnacle of their watchmaking capability, from mechanical spring drive movements to the dial textures and things like that. So this is a little bit of a unique beast here. So this is a quartz piece, and it's got the movement is the 8J81, which is a quartz movement. Very accurate, even by quartz standards. You're looking at a deviation of about plus or minus 10 seconds per year. Which is obviously, much more accurate than mechanical or automatic pieces. Just kind of a really interesting watch. So, the dial was the thing that attracted me to it. In looking at some of the Mount Iwate dials on a few of the Grand Seiko models, and kind of taking a look at that, like Suwa, all those things, and not quite finding the watch that I wanted in the Grand Seiko lineup. And then I saw this dial, and I was like, this is spectacular, and it also happens to be from Credor. So, so as far as the specs on it, let's talk about that. So we've got 37 millimeter case size, so pretty small and very manageable for a smaller wrist. Case thickness is just under 7 millimeters thick, so very, very thin case, obviously because of the fact that there's no rotor and it's quartz. 17 millimeter lug width, so also very much on the smaller side for most watches. And lug to lug, we're looking at a 43 millimeter spacing there from lug to lug. So that's what we got there. The battery in these movements is good for about 3 years. So again, very accurate, very long lasting, which is fantastic. Doesn't really need to be wound or anything like that, just can be worn. But on the water resistance side, it is water resistant, but the numbers that I've seen are maybe like 10 to 20 bar. So you don't want to go even surface swimming with this one. It's truly just enough water resistance to be able to make it through the rain or, kind of your day-to-day usage with this one, but that's about it. So let's go ahead and throw it on the wrist here so you can get a sense of the fit. It is a single fold deployant clasp, and then you've got the dual release system for the deployant clasp here, and then you have the Credor logo right on the clasp. So Credor, there's a French translation of Credor, which means golden top. And the symbol, I should say the logo for Credor, was actually derived from the Chinese symbol for mountain. So that's kind of where you get this little symbol here. And the idea behind it being that you are reaching into, the clouds and touching heaven is kind of the idea behind the logo and the brand for Credor. So I do, if you notice, I have my light on for this video as well on my camera here, because part of seeing this dial texture does kind of require a little bit of a direct light. Now, you do have some fantastic polishing on the indices, as you can tell, and on the hands. So let's take a look at that really quick. Because as a lot of folks are used to with Grand Seiko, and with Credor, the Zaratsu polishing that they use on those models, you can also see applied here. So you've got that prism effect on the indices that, again, for me, this is something that, even if you're in the dark, just moving it around, the light plays off of it really well, so you really don't even need lume. And from across the room, it's another thing with these pieces that have this Zaratsu black polishing, where the light just flies off of it, and it just looks so awesome in just about any amount of lighting. So again, no lume, but you don't really need it with the Zerazzi polishing because it just flies right off, and you get that nice, little spark off each of the indices and the hands in the second hand. So, as far as complication goes, just a simple three-hander, nothing fancy here, but I love the way that the hands are crafted on the Credor pieces. They just have a really nice point to them. Let's see if I can get it a little bit closer, but yeah, so you can see they're a little bit thinner right at the tips, and they also do this kind of contrasting thing with the hands where you can see there's a little bit of a line right in the middle where they're raised, so that you can see there's nice contrast on the hands depending on what angle you're looking at the watch from, so that it makes for easy readability and legibility on there. So you can see you've got the Credor logo right there. The dial itself was inspired by the inside of a tree. So like if you would cut a tree horizontally and look inside, you would see something like this pattern. So it's made to represent kind of the strength, but also the elegance of that pattern within the bark that you would see. And this is a hand-painted dial. So again, even though it's not something that was crafted in the micro artist studio like the H2 and the other pieces like that, it is still a hand-painted dial, which again, for something that you can get into at about the lower end of Grand Seiko cost, some of their quartz pieces somewhere in that price range, pretty impressive that you still get a hand-painted dial. I love it. It is so fantastic, and the texture, as with most Grand Seiko dials, is what does it for me on this watch. So just a fantastic piece. On the case back, not a lot to see here, just a stainless steel case back. You can see the Credor logo there. The bracelet is fitted with pins, so if you want to resize the bracelet, you're going to need a pin system, punch system for that. But I do have a strap that I'll be ordering to put on to match the dial, as I always try to do with this piece, just to see what it looks like in a little bit of a lower light setting. You can see it here where, again, it almost takes on just a real deep blue. You can still kind of see the texture, so it looks fantastic either way. But I did want to showcase it with the light because, again, I think that's where it really shines. You can tell what it looks like, but you can see even as I'm turning the dial here, you can still see the hands really well, just because you have that light play that's happening off the hands and off the indices. So anyways, that's this piece. That's Credor. Would highly suggest that you take a look at them. Again, because this is the highest of the highest end of Seiko. So you've got the Presage models from Seiko, those types of things. Several great quartz options in that family. Then you go up a notch to Grand Seiko, where you get into some of the 9SA5 pieces, some of the spring drive pieces. The dial textures really get fantastic, and then all the way at the top end, you get to Credor, where you have everything from pieces like this, somewhere in this price range, to right around a standard Grand Seiko piece, somewhere in the $6,000 to $10,000 range, somewhere in about that price range, all the way up to, like I mentioned, the H2, which is really up there. I mean, they make very few of them, so even to get to a place where you can acquire one, unless you get it secondary market, you're going to be potentially waiting a bit, paying quite a bit, and so for me, this was kind of my way of getting into Credor without needing to be on that list of kind of exclusive clients. So, like I say, this primarily marketed in Japan. There's not a lot about this brand out there. Really have to dig around to find much about Credor. But I would highly, highly recommend, if you like Seiko, if you like Grand Seiko, take a look. You can still find some budget options in the Credor lineup. And this one, just really a fantastic one. Again, as I keep just turning the dial here, it's just fun to look at, fun to watch, fun to see it come alive. with all the polishing and the hand painting on there. So that's what I have. So thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. And again, I always share, like, I hope you get out of watches whatever it is that you're looking for. Nobody says that you've got to go with, $15,000 Rolex for every piece, or, Longa, or any of the other brands. Like, they're all fantastic, but, take a look, take a chance on something that's a little bit different, because I think you will not be disappointed. And you can't go wrong with a brand in the Seiko line of brands. So take a look at Credor if you've not already. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.